I love to read. I hope you love reading just as much as I do. Reading comes with a lot of benefits, and one of them is to actually learn things. And oftentimes we read a lot, and that's a great thing. But if you are reading to actually take something away from what you read, and you don't apply what you learn from the book, reading was useless. Reading great books is just 50% of the learning. The other 50% comes from taking action on what you read. That's why I think it's not only important to read life-changing books, but also use what you learn from them to change your life. In other words, just because you read the book doesn't mean it actually helped you. My name is Prachi, and in this video, I'm going to teach you how I read books so I actually use what I learn. The first thing you should do is read with an intention. You might read a book to solve a problem in your life, expand your knowledge of a certain topic, or learn how to do a specific activity. You need to have a reason for reading that book. You need to have some sort of purpose because you're going to end up reading the whole thing and then you're going to wonder why you read it in the first place because you shouldn't have read it. Don't just read a book because you think it'll be useful to you or you think it might help you in the future, because I've read books like that and I haven't gotten anything out of them. Lesson learned. You should read books that you can apply to your life right now. If you're reading for enjoyment purposes only, this video might not be useful to you. Reading for fun is one thing, but reading so you can change your life is a whole other thing. And you want to do this right. If you feel like you don't have enough time to read, but you want to, just stick it in your calendar. I really like to read before bed because it helps me fall asleep. So maybe instead of going on your phone, you can swap that out with reading a good book. You could also listen to audiobooks when you're driving, when you're exercising, or doing chores. And that's another good way to learn from books without physically reading. And if you have time to read but don't remember to do it, then you should just tie it to an existing habit. For example, if you eat breakfast in the morning, you can read a little bit while you're eating breakfast and just make that your daily routine. Or you can listen to an audiobook when you're cooking dinner. Just find a way to weave it into your lifestyle and put it in your calendar. Otherwise, you might forget. I really like Google Calendar. A very overlooked tip I have for you is to stop reading a book as soon as you realize you don't like it or that it's not useful. I can't tell you how many times I've read entire books just to say I've read them when they weren't even useful to me and just wasted my time. Thankfully, now I know that if a book doesn't feel like it's helping me or doesn't feel interesting in any way, I should just put it down and move on to another one. Why would you waste your time reading okay books when you could use your time to read awesome books? In addition to what I just said, if you're reading a really great book but you don't think that everything in the book is useful to you or relevant to your life, you don't have to read the whole thing. Reading some of it is just as good, or maybe even better actually. Even the Pareto principle states that 80% of your outputs comes from 20% of your inputs. I apply that same rule to my reading. You don't have to read the whole 100% of the book to get the most out of it. Actually, reading all of the extra parts in the book that aren't relevant to you probably wastes more of your time. Most likely, not every part of the book is going to be super useful to you, so I would just stick to reading the few chapters that I feel like are really helpful to me and that I can apply to my life right away. And you might feel like reading the entire book is extremely useful to you, but if you come across a paragraph that's like, I feel like I would be fine if I didn't read that, you can skip over it and just move on to the next paragraph. Remember, the point of reading an educational book is to actually learn and get something out of it. But it doesn't mean you're going to get everything out of every single word. Please don't waste your time. Don't read what isn't helpful to you. And if you're a person who likes to highlight things while reading, I wouldn't recommend doing that either. Usually when I highlight stuff, it's because I want to go back later to take notes on those specific key points of the book. But I'm not just going to go about highlighting every single thing in the book. Highlighting what you read doesn't guarantee you'll actually remember anything, and it doesn't mean you'll come back and actually read what you highlighted. Reading is such a great way to learn things fast, but it's doubly beneficial if you actually put what you learn into practice. You need to really think about what is the one thing I want to take away from this book and I can take action on right now. Usually you can turn these actions into habits that you can use for the rest of your life. One of the books I just finished was How to Win Friends and Influence People, and one of the most important things I learned from that book was to use people's names when addressing them. So that is the thing that I want to apply in my life. So my end goal would be to get comfortable using people's names often because it would give them a sense of importance. You need to have some sort of reminder to help you work towards your habit or goal or action plan that you got from the book. You can put a sticky note on your bathroom mirror, or you can write it at the top of your to-do list. It doesn't matter to me, but you need to have something that reminds you so you actually remember to do it. Every day I look at my to-do list, so at the top of the to-do list, I just put the thing that I'm trying to work towards based on the book. Finally, you need to have some way to track your progress, otherwise you're not going to know if the book taught you anything or not. In my case, I could keep a log for how many times I use someone's name in a single day, and I could do that for a week and see how I've made progress. You need to figure out some way to track your progress depending on what thing you're trying to learn from the book. And if you're stuck on this, you can just go to ChatGPT and explain to it what you learned from the book and have it create a step-by-step process that you can apply to your life. You can ask it to give you ideas on how to remind yourself to do the habit and how to track it as well. And if your action step is just a one-time thing, like you just do this now and then you forget about it forever, just stick it in your calendar so that you don't forget to do it. So basically, figure out a way to turn what you learned from the book into lifelong habits. Don't just do the thing once and forget about it. For it to change your life, you need to continuously repeat what you learned. And the last thing you can do that can help your memory is to teach other people what you learned. You might hear this method a lot, but it's really useful. I find that when I explain things in my YouTube videos or when I share new things I learn with my friends or family, I'm able to recall the information a lot faster. So explaining something to a person really reinforces what you learn in your memory. It's also just a really great way to share what you learn, because if you learn something that's really good, you should share it to other people. At least that's what I think. When you put these systems into place that I mentioned in the video, you're going to create the space for great improvement throughout your life just by reading books. So try to capture as much power as you can from the things you read and use those things in your daily life. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it useful, and see you in the next one.